I'm Matt from Unlimited, here to review TLC 2009. In 2009, the WWE decided to go a little bit outside of the box, go a little bit against the grain, and go a little bit on the different route, and decided to bring in some new gimmick pay-per-views. Now, you know the WWE has always been high on gimmick pay-per-views. You've seen pay-per-views such as Extreme Rules and No Way Out, and even going back further, shows like King of the Ring. You've seen those type of pay-per-views. Well, here in 2009, the WWE decided to make even more gimmick pay-per-views. Some of them that lasted only 1 year, maybe 2, and some of them that are still going on today, with one of them happening to take place this Sunday. You got Breaking Point, which focused on submission matches. You had the Submissions Count Anywhere match between Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase versus DX. You had the I Quit match between Randy Orton and John Cena, as big of a debacle as that was, and you had the submissions match at the end of the night featuring CM Punk versus The Undertaker. Then you got to Hell in a Cell, and the key concept of that pay-per-view was that every big match was going to take place inside Hell in a Cell. Then you get to Bragging Rights, same thing. You have Raw versus SmackDown, something that we hadn't seen in a while, something that's, that has been done before, but it's still different enough to do again. You get to early 2010, and the WWE decided to flip No Way Out to Elimination Chamber. Before that, in December of 2009, the WWE also decided to take advantage of the popularity of tables matches, ladder matches, and the TLC match to put them all together into one TLC, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs pay-per-view. Now, I personally am not a fan of the gimmick pay-per-views, but if I was going to keep one, I would probably keep TLC. Even though I still think that the TLC match itself, or even just a straight-up ladder match, should be a blow-off of a big feud, or maybe the second of a 3-match feud. But I may keep TLC for the future, I don't know. But since TLC happens to be coming up this Sunday on the WWE Network, I figured it was good to go back and look at some of these TLC pay-per-views, starting with TLC 2009. TLC 2009 was the introduction of the TLC pay-per-view concept. Now, on this pay-per-view, you had a ladder match, you had a tables match, you had the first ever chairs match, and then you had the big blow-off TLC match to end the show. That's good. A pay-per-view that's not oversaturated with stipulations, but still has enough of them to match the theme of the pay-per-view and to actually put some interest in said matches. Now, there are some things that frustrate me about the show, including what happened in the dark match. Remember CM Punk's legendary run in 2009 when he was feuding with Jeff Hardy in main eventing pay-per-views for the World Heavyweight Championship, and when he was feuding with guys like The Undertaker? And when he was feuding with guys like Kane and Umaga? Well, here in late 2009 in December, the WWE thought so highly of CM Punk that they decided to put him on the dark match on the pre-show, and he was wrestling, of all people, R-Truth, and most importantly, and shockingly, he was losing to said R-Truth on the dark match for a pay-per-view. And you wonder why he is no longer in the WWE today. But we kicked off the show in the right way with this ladder match for the ECW Championship featuring Christian and Shelton Benjamin. Now, I thought that these two guys have really good chemistry together, and if you add the element of a ladder match, it really, really helps. You have Christian, who's one of the masters of the ladder match. Shelton Benjamin, same thing. Look at all of those Money in the Bank moments that he had, mainly from the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match in 2005. But if you put the two of them together in a ladder match, you know magic is going to happen. And what this match did was it kept me a little bit interested in ECW. Now, at that time, I was just not interested in anything that was going on with ECW. And clearly, the WWE wasn't either, because 2 short months later, ECW was off the air. So, this at least kept me a little bit interested until they made Ezekiel Jackson the ECW champion. Yeah, that happened. This next match is a little bit sad to look back at because this pay-per-view was only 7 years ago. That's not really that long off. And I look at the two participants in this match, and you can tell that the WWE was incredibly high on both of them. John Morrison. When Johnny Nitro became John Morrison, you could tell WWE was high on him. They put the rocket ship up his ass to win the ECW championship when he wasn't even supposed to be in the match. That just shows you how high the WWE was on him at the time. And then eventually they found out that other than his wrestling ability, he pretty much has nothing else. He has the personality and the mic skills of a candle. Then you look at a guy like Drew McIntyre. He was introduced as Vince McMahon's chosen one. He was Vince McMahon's creation. He was going to be Vince McMahon's next big star. And look at where he is 7 years later. He is no longer with the WWE. And you look at how his WWE career went, where he floundered around the mid-card for a while before joining freaking 3MB. How sad is that looking back 7 years before? You could make an argument that both of these guys were going to be top guys. They were going to be main event stars. You look 7 years later, they're no longer with the company. It's a shame. But you got this match, Drew McIntyre defeating John Morrison for his first Intercontinental Championship. Cool. I was a big fan of this. I loved Drew McIntyre. I liked John Morrison. I thought that if you added a mouthpiece to John Morrison, you could have done big things with him. I thought that if you maybe followed up on the Vince McMahon chosen one crap, you could have did big things with Drew McIntyre too. You would have thought. Then you get to this women's championship match, Michelle McCool versus Mickie James. This was, of course, excuse me. This was, of course, during that time when Michelle McCool was starting to make fun of Mickie James's weight, and this feud was kind of stupid. Michelle McCool goes over here. Whatever. Excuse me. Now, talk about frustrating. Sheamus versus John Cena for the WWE Championship in this tables match. If I'm coughing over the next couple videos that you see, I just happen to be recording these videos while I'm sick. So yeah. Sorry about that. But this match frustrated me on so many different levels. SummerSlam 2004, you had the main event be Randy Orton versus Chris Benoit for the World Heavyweight Championship. Mind you that this was a Randy Orton that was still incredibly green, incredibly new, and was definitely nowhere near ready for the main event. And you had him defeat Chris Benoit as a complete 100% force. There's a difference between a push and a force. And you had WWE force Randy Orton down our throats in 2004 as the World Heavyweight Championship, as the World Heavyweight Champion, excuse me. And on top of that, you tried to make him a babyface. Yeah, that did not work. Well, here in 2009, same thing with Sheamus. Here's a guy that debuted only a couple of months before, and a couple of months later, he's already holding the main belt. He didn't even have a major feud yet. He didn't even establish himself as a top heel yet. And here he is facing John Cena in this awkward tables match that really was not that good. And that's a problem with a lot of tables matches, is you're really limited with what you can do unless you use other weapons, which would then defeat the purpose of it being a tables match. You might as well just call it a TLC match. But here you have Sheamus defeating John Cena. Only a couple of months into his career, he's already the world champion. What else can I say about this? We then follow up with the first ever chairs match between The Undertaker and Batista for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, I always like to applaud WWE for trying some different things, and the chairs match was something a little bit different, something a little bit outside the box. And again, You know, when WWE tries to pull out a different move, I'm going to give it a chance. I'm going to give it the old college try. And this chairs match between The Undertaker and Batista was solid. It was probably the best chairs match that I've seen since the WWE invented the match. I know there haven't really been a lot of them, so saying that is kind of, yeah, it is the best, but what's that really saying? Because there really haven't been that many. I understand that. But this match was solid. It was very hard-hitting. They did use a lot of chairs, which is good, the point of the match. The problem I had with this match was that you've already seen these guys touch so many times before. The entire year of 2007 was pretty much Undertaker versus Batista, and I believe they even faced off once in 2008. I could be wrong about that. But that was my only gripe about this match. But this match was pretty good. What I loved about this match, it continued Batista's heel run in late 2009 and early 2010. That heel Batista was awesome, and I don't even think I'm the only one that thinks that. I mean, Batista in early 2010, despite basically being on his way out, was so much better than the bland babyface that he was. He actually had a character that got over as a heel. And he did heel things. He drew heel heat. And it worked. Of course, Batista's best times as a heel were still to come during his feud with John Cena, when John Cena was kissing babies and hugging fat girls. I loved Batista in 2010. That was awesome. What wasn't awesome was this next match. If you want to know why Kofi Kingston is in the spot that he's in, blame this feud against Randy Orton. You go to Survivor Series, this 5-on-5 elimination tag team match, and you have Kofi Kingston versus CM Punk and Randy Orton. You have Kofi Kingston eliminate Punk, and then immediately eliminate Orton, not even 10 seconds after that. You had him basically be Superman that night. So you would think, with Kofi pinning a former world champion in CM Punk, a former world champion in Randy Orton, that things were going to go nowhere else but up. But then this match happened. Kofi Kingston needed this win, and unfortunately Randy Orton took that win from him for no reason. I look at it too and say, this is the time when Randy Orton is running his course as a heel, and he's literally about to turn babyface within the next couple of months. You have to start that. You have to get ready for that. So, what better way to do that than to put a babyface over on the way out? And then maybe at the end of the match, you have a sign of respect and have Randy Orton shake his hand. Or you have Kofi shake Randy Orton's hand. Or whatever. But Randy Orton did not need this win. Kofi Kingston needed this win. And if you want to know why, after this match, Kofi Kingston was sent into mediocrity, this is why. Politics always win. And the Breakfast Club always rules. Speaking of the Breakfast Club, DX versus Jericho. Now, I loved Jericho, and I hated this version of DX. The bland, vanilla, child, G-rated DX that they played. However, this was the right match to main event the show. This was a very solid TLC match for the Unified Tag Team Championships. Triple H and Shawn Michaels, I don't think they've ever been in a TLC match. Or maybe that third, one of the stages in that 3 Stages of Hell match was a ladder match, but they've never been in a TLC match. Big Show's never been in a TLC match. Jericho was, but, But more importantly, you kind of gave DX that one final gift as a goodbye. And that was something that they've never been able to do as a team, hold the Unified Tag Team Championship. And this match was really, really good. I'll give it that. And it was the right way to close out the show. And all in all, the first TLC pay-per-view was pretty good. Unfortunately, next, I have to talk about TLC 2010. Oh boy!